morning! It is time for date number 9. I'm really excited about meeting this particular contestant, and we're getting close to the end, which is also very exciting because then I'm gonna have to, well, it's like exciting and then it's also kind of scary because I'm gonna have to make my choice. Who am I gonna choose of these 10 contestants? Which 3 books am I gonna choose? And that seems impossible at this point. I've enjoyed every single book. I don't know how I'm gonna choose. It's gonna be incredibly difficult. But for this date, I am sort of going back to something that is a typical date. I'm going to be going and getting a coffee date. But I thought to myself, another fun date idea would be to have a date on a train. I've always wanted to take a train trip and then just like sit and have a meal and just kind of enjoy the pleasures of the train. Now, obviously, I couldn't do that for this one date, but I'm going to be kind of having a date on a train and enjoying, well, the view, except that the tide is out. So I don't know how much of a view I'm going to enjoy at the moment, but I'm going to get some breakfast, get some coffee, and meet contestant number 9. Okay, so when I look at this one, this actually looks like the shortest of all the 10% I have. So this is probably going to be a very short book, which, short and sweet is always good. And it looks like it's set in the 1600s. So another historical fiction or something? I don't know. But we will find out. Maryland. It's also set in Maryland. So it's US 1600s. What happened then? Maybe witches? Okay, so this first part was actually a prologue set in 1600, and we are following this gentleman named Giles while he's at the end of his life. He's dying, and he has some kind of magic, some kind of power in him, and he has lived for many, many centuries. Well, he's lived in many lifetimes, and he has impregnated a woman named Anne intentionally, like it's his partner, his life partner. I think that's his lifetime partner, somebody who follows him or maybe has the same powers, the same kind of being he is. And every single time, she births 3 sons for him to continue on whatever they are. So at the beginning of this, he's basically waiting for death. He knows he's going to die, and he knows that death is coming to get him. And death shows up in the form of this witchcraft mob. And he and his wife have been accused of witchcraft and demonry, and they're going to be killed. And so what was interesting about this is it kind of reminds me of Ring Shout. Ring Shout has the demons, the monsters, in the form of these Ku Kluxes, which are the Ku Klux Klan. And this one shows the demon. There is a demon in this group that is meant to kill him. The demon is taking the body or the form of this guy within the town, or this older man that probably is like a priest or something that is there to accuse them of witchcraft. And so it reminds me of Ring Shout for that reason. I don't know what's going to happen next because chapter 1 actually is set in 1987. So now we're hopping forward to the future. And I'm guessing maybe this same whatever he is remains in the future. I still don't know what he is though. So we'll find out. Okay, so in 1987, we've got these three boys who are going on a camping trip. And they've got very different lives. One of them comes from a very middle-class family. He's very pampered and taken care of by his mom. The second boy comes from very hippie parents and eats a very, very healthy vegan / carob brownies kind of food. And his biggest thing is he wants to go to the store before he goes on his camping trip and pick up like Little Debbie cakes and stuff like that. And then our third boy, Gage, is horribly abused by his father, like beaten pretty badly. His father's a drunk and his mother is dead. And so that is his situation. He's just angry and rebellious, understandably. And these three boys share a birthday. They were born at the same time, which makes me think they have something to do with whatever that guy was that we met in the prologue, because his legacy that he was leaving was to three sons that were born at the same time. They were triplets or what have you. So these are not boys that are born of the same mothers, but they are born at the same time. So are they the legacies of this guy? I don't know, but I get that feeling. Also, I've never watched Stranger Things. I know nothing about that show aside from what I've heard about it. And yet, something about this book is giving me Stranger Things vibes, which is strange considering I've never watched the show. But 10-year-old kids, sort of middle grade-ish. They're a little younger, but 1980s, in a neighborhood, going off camping, getting into supernatural situations. Like, isn't that what Stranger Things is about? And just over there is Canada. See that? All the way over there? That's White Rock. Got Canada just over the border. Okay, so I'm not quite finished reading, but some gentleman came and sat down next to me and did have a heart attack. So had to call 911, got him taken care of. He was still alive when they came and took him to the hospital. So that's good. It's a good news. And I'm going to go home because it's been a bit of a morning. So I'll finish reading this later when I get a chance to. And just hot and kind of feel like it's time to go home. That was very shocking and scary and surprising. So that was my date. Okay, I'm home and I'm ready to finish out my date. I put bug spray on and I'm out here in the woods. I'm going to enjoy the beautiful day that this is. Look at my pretty little reading partner. Hi, sweetie. What are you doing out here? Just keeping an eye on the woods, making sure they're still there, getting bit by bugs. Okay, so I have completed my date and it was a fun contestant. I enjoyed this contestant. It was sort of scary, spooky, kind of horror-ish. I don't know the book, so that's exciting too, because I was trying to think, what does this sound like? What does this sound familiar to? And I have no idea. But at this 10th birthday, these three boys went on this camping trip to this place called the Pagan Stone. And that's where the prologue event happened. And they decide, because they love each other, they care about each other so much, they want to become blood brothers. And so in their little oath that they do and become blood brothers, they end up summoning something from the prologue. And I remember from the prologue there was a demon. I don't know if they summoned the demon or whatever it was that was the voice of the prologue. I'm not sure. But now we're jumping forward to 2008. So these boys are 30 years old. And it was fun hearing about them as 10 years old, to get an idea of their personalities and who they are at that point. But now it'll be interesting to see what they're like as 30-year-olds. And we're following Cal, who his father owns basically everything in this town. In fact, his last name is Hawkins, which is the name of the town. The town's called Hawkins Hollow. So he and his family have held a prominent place in this area for a very long time. I am very curious, and this seems like it would be a really fun read. It probably isn't a very long read because of that first 10%. And so, like I said, short and sweet would be fun. So we'll see. Will this be one I choose? It is one I'm interested in. It is one I'm very interested in, and I enjoyed the writing so far. So another instance where it could be the one. So Shell had me stumped. I had no clue what this could possibly be. I just had vibes. I knew what vibes I felt from this particular book. But I'm very curious to see what she has to say about this one. So let's hand it over to our bookish matchmaker, Shell.
Well, you're almost through. Contestant number 9 is shockingly romantic. Blood Brothers by Nora Roberts. So, funny story. I was looking through the list that I had made of your possible matches and realized that I didn't have just a straight romance in there. And I wanted to pick one for you as a good match because while you don't usually rate them very high, they are comfort reads for you. So depending on your mood, a romance novel just might hit the spot and be your perfect book match, even if you don't normally rate them high. So I went to your Goodreads and started going through your TBR to look for a good match for you that I've read that I would recommend as a good match. And I came across this one. And I thought it would be perfect because it's Nora Roberts and very comfort read, in my opinion. And I know that you've liked her books too. And and so I was like, and this one's a good one because it is a little bit darker than a lot of her trilogies. And it's got a paranormal and a historical element to it. And I thought that it would intrigue you and you'd want to read it if you started reading it. So I was like, this is good. This is good. I'll do this. So as I'm writing out the first 10% and I get towards the end, I realized that I might have made a mistake because there is no way from the first 10% that you would ever guess that this was a romance. Because it's the first in a trilogy that are all connected, there are like 2 prologues in the beginning of this book that kind of go through the history of the events way before the books, and then also the history of some of the main characters. So by the time I got to the end of that 10%, I realized that there is no way that you would ever guess that this was a romance novel. You're either going to think it's a historical fiction book or some kind of paranormal horror or mystery. I don't know, but you are not going to guess that it's a romance. So that is why this is shockingly romantic, because I don't know. I don't know. You'll never guess. You'll never guess what this book is. You'll never guess that it's a romance. So I'm not sure if this will end up intriguing you enough to have you pick it as your perfect match, even though I think that you would really enjoy it. But I had already written the whole 10%, so I was like, well, hopefully the historical paranormal element is going to fascinate you enough that despite the fact that you are going to be completely shocked when you find out what this book is, you might still pick it and then be very surprised. So I hope this date goes well. And I'm going to get a kick out of seeing your reaction to this. Have a good date.
So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you can see what happens when I meet the final contestant number 10, actually later on today, because I need to get these 2 dates done today. So I'm back to back, double booked with dates today. Scandalous. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you later.